Hello everyone. In today's class we will take up a chapter from biology. Why do we fall ill? I believe all of you have the experience of falling ill. You must have fallen ill at some point of time in your life. How do you feel when you are ill? You might feel restless, you feel tired all the time, you do not feel like eating food, you feel like sleeping all the time. So this is how you feel when you are ill. Sometimes just to skip school, I believe most of you have done that. You have told your parents that you are sick and you cannot go to school today, so never do that. Have you ever wondered why do we fall ill? Or what causes diseases, what are the factors, how can we prevent diseases? So in this chapter we will find the answers to all these questions. So before understanding what is a disease, what is illness, let us first understand what is health. Okay, the ancient Indians and Greek, they used to define health as the absence of disease. Okay, so the ancient Indians and Greeks considered health as the absence of disease. That means they paid attention only to the physical health. Physical health भनेको absence of disease भनेको शरीरमा कुनै पनि रोग छैन, discomfort छैन भने चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ absence of disease हो नि त. सो अहिलेको मान्छेले चाहिँ के भन्नुहुन्थ्यो, शरीरमा रोग छैन भने चाहिँ you are healthy भनेर भन्नुहुन्थ्यो. But in due course of time, the people started attributing health to not only physical health but other parameters were also involved. So the definition of health underwent rectification. So according to WHO, WHO has given an apt definition for health. So according to WHO, that is World Health Organization, World Health Organization, it is often abbreviated as WHO. We have been hearing this term so much nowadays. So according to WHO, health is defined as state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. Infirmity refers to physical weakness. So here you have to take note that World Health Organization is not simply laying emphasis on physical health, but it is also talking about mental and social well-being. Physical, mental and social well-being. So physical that you've already understood, शरीरमा कुनै रोग छैन भने that is physical health. भनेपछि mental भनेको चाहिँ के हो भन्दाखेरि mental भनेको चाहिँ coping up with any stresses, है. अब we feel a lot of stress in our lifetime, so त्यो stress मा cope up गर्नु सक्ने चाहिँ mentally fit भन्नु खोजेको, okay, or someone that can work productively or fruitfully. That means that person has a sound mental health. त्यसै गरी social भनेको चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि socially misfit चाहिँ हुनु भएन नि. जस्तो नेबर्सहरुसँग जहिले तहिले झगडा पर्ने, that is not social well-being. या त रक्सी खाएर abuse गर्ने, that is also not social well-being. So for a person to be healthy, now there are three parameters. The person should be physically healthy भनेको शरीरमा कुनै प्रकारको रोग हुनु भएन, mentally पनि उ fit हुनु पर्यो अनि socially पनि fit हुनु पर्यो. So this is the definition that is given by World Health Organization, and it has rightly been said that health is wealth. So now, since we've understood the concept of health, let us move on to the factors that affects our health. Okay, factors affecting health. So कुन चाहिँ factorले हाम्रो हेल्थमा असर गर्छ. Okay, so there are two factors that affect health. First factor is known as the personal factor. Okay, so first factor is your personal factor. So personal factor भनेको personal भनेपछि it depends upon the individual alone. Individual alone. So what are these personal factors? These personal factors are maintaining personal hygiene. Right? Maintaining personal hygiene. Personal hygiene भनेको के हो? Personal hygiene practices maintain गर्नु पर्यो, जस्तो taking bath regularly, है, wearing clean clothes, washing your hands before and after a meal or after visiting a toilet, clipping your nails. All these are personal hygiene practices. So your personal hygiene practice you follow गर्यो भने you will remain healthy. So this is the personal factor. Another personal factor is taking nutritious food. You have to take nutritious food. Balanced diet खानु पर्यो नि, nutrients, full of nutrients भएको food खानु पर्यो. Exercising regularly, you have to exercise regularly. Other factor is taking adequate rest, proper rest हुनु पर्यो, so that your body can work properly. If you do not rest adequately, then your body will not be able to function properly. So all these are personal factors that affect our health. Okay. Next is the community factor. The second factor that affects our health is the community factor. So let us see what is community factor. So community factor, it does not depend upon the individual. It is actually the factors to which an individual is exposed to. जुन चाहिँ environment छ, बाहिरको environment, त्यसमा exposure गर्छ जुन चाहिँ factors, that is the community factor. Okay, so number 2 is your community factor. So what does this community factor depend upon? Depends upon the environment to which a person is exposed. कस्तो खालको environment मा उ बस्दैछ. If the environment is very dirty, then that person is bound to suffer from a disease. Okay, so it depends upon the community. It depends upon the environmental factors. Alright. So let us discuss some of the community factors. Some of the community factors are effective sanitation. Effective sanitation, such as effective sanitation भनेको चाहिँ proper disposal of sewage. Proper disposal of sewage. Sewage भन्नाले हाम्रो toilet bathroom बाट जति पनि मैला निक्लिन्छ, that is sewage. So that should be properly disposed. Domestic waste, घरबाट जति मैलाहरू निक्लिन्छ, garbage and all, that should be properly thrown, right? Properly disposed. Cleaning drains of the streets ma bhako drains haruलाई clean garnu. All these are community factors, okay, on which the health of an individual depends. Okay, so community health can be maintained. Kasari community, entire community ko health, how can it be maintained? It can be maintained by giving health education to people. So if you spread awareness among people, then people will be healthy, because they will start practicing healthy practices, then they will be healthy. So it is essential to give people health education, and there should be a proper disposal of, as I already told you, proper disposal of sewage and garbage. Okay, sewage and garbage. There should be proper healthcare facilities, proper healthcare services. There should be hospitals nearby, primary health centers or primary health sub-centers with facilities nearby. Okay, and also providing safe drinking water to the people. Water कतिवटा बिमार निक्लिन्छ, so to avoid those diseases, people should be provided with safe drinking water. So this is how community health can be maintained. Okay, so since we've understood what is health, what are the factors that affect our health, now it will be easier for us to understand the meaning of disease. Okay, so let us study what do we understand by disease, or what is the meaning of disease. Now the word disease is self-explanatory. कसरी self-explanatory भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ disease भनेको चाहिँ it means disturbed ease नि त है, disturbed ease. So जब comfort, body ko comfort चाहिँ disturb भयो भने that condition is called a disease. Okay, so disease can be defined as any deviation भनेको going away from the normal. Okay, any deviation from normal functioning of the body. Or any deviation from a state of complete physical and mental well-being. So भन्नु खोजेको चाहिँ normal functioning बाट बाहिर अरु केही चीज भयो भने चाहिँ that is known as disease. या त physical अथवा mental health मा केही disturbance आयो भने that is a disease. Okay, now many people have misconception है फेरि being disease free र healthy चाहिँ एउटै हो भनिन्छ, but these are two different things. Okay, being disease free भनेको चाहिँ there is no physical discomfort, or we can say there is absence of any sort of body discomfort is known as being disease free. It depends upon the individual alone. तर being healthy भनेको चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अघि भनेको जस्तो अघि मैले तपाईहरुलाई भनेको थिएँ, it is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Right? So complete physical, mental, social तीनटै ठीक छ भने चाहिँ त्यो healthy हो. Disease free भनेको चाहिँ physical मात्रै ठीक छ भने that is being disease free. Okay, and being healthy depends upon the person, his surroundings, physical surroundings, his society, as well as it also depends upon the person's economic status. Okay, so this is the difference between being disease free and healthy. You should remember it, it is important. Okay, Now sometimes when we look at our friend, we are able to tell that our friend is not feeling well, or he or she is suffering from a disease. How can we say that? By looking at the person's appearance. कोही बेला त्यो साथीको appearance कस्तो हुन्छ, disheveled type हुन्छ नि, so त्यो हेरेर we can find out that that person is suffering from a disease. So what causes a change in the appearance? When a person is suffering from a disease, you can see that from the facial expression or from the body language that the person is suffering from a disease. So केले गर्दा चाहिँ appearance मा change आउँछ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ disease ले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ normal functioning of the organ system disease does not allow normal functioning of the organ systems, and it may may lead to a change in the appearance of the organ systems. So when there is a change in the appearance of the organ systems, it leads to something called symptoms. Okay, so symptoms say indicates the presence of a disease. Okay, so disease le ke garcha hare first ma disease cause a change in the functioning of the organ systems. Okay, system, and may lead to a change in the appearance of the organ system. So these changes then lead to symptom. Okay, symptom which indicate the presence of a disease. So symptoms छ भने कुनै पनि symptoms छ भने चाहिँ we come to know that that person is suffering from a disease. So what exactly is symptom, or how do we define symptom? Symptom can be defined as a change in the normal functioning of the body. A change in the normal functioning of the body. It's called symptoms. Examples, what are the changes that can be seen in the normal functioning of the body? That is headache. Sometimes we have headache, or we have fever, or we have stomach ache, or we vomit, or nausea. Nausea is just like you have a tendency to vomit, vomit aako jasto, that is nauseous. Cough, sometimes you cough. So all these are symptoms. So if you have any of these, then that means you are having symptoms, and symptoms indicate the presence of a disease. So what do you do if you have the symptoms? You should not take medicine by yourself. You have to visit a doctor. So when you go visit the doctor asks you for symptoms. What are you feeling? So based on that symptoms, the doctor will diagnose the disease. And sometimes if the symptoms is doctor is unable to diagnose the disease from the symptoms, he will ask us to do a blood test or a urine test or a stool test, etc. So these tests will help the doctor to determine the disease. Okay. Now let us move to the types of diseases. What are the types of diseases that we usually suffer from? So there are, depending upon the duration, कतिको लामो अथवा कतिको छोटो हुन्छ. So depending upon that duration, there are two kinds of diseases that we usually suffer from. First is known as the acute disease, and another is chronic disease. So types of diseases. Okay. So depending upon the duration, there are two kinds of disease. Okay, so two kinds of disease. First is acute and second is chronic disease. Okay, so let us study about them one by one. Right? So first we'll study about acute disease. So the diseases which last for a short duration of time is known as acute disease. Let's say these diseases last for a short period of time. A short duration of time. For example, common cold, sardi, common cold. Malaria, pneumonia. So all these are acute diseases. They last only for a short duration of time. Now the person suffering from an acute disease recovers completely. Recovers completely. Okay, so ekdam jati bhayihalcha. Okay, next is your chronic disease. Okay, chronic disease. So these diseases, they last for a long time. These diseases last for a long time. Example would be tuberculosis, TB bhन्छ हामी, diabetes, etc. Okay, and when a person is suffering from a chronic disease, it has a bad effect on a person's general health. So chronic diseases cause a bad effect on a person's general health. Okay, people suffering from chronic diseases may feel tired all the time. Okay, may feel tired all the time and may also lose weight. Okay, so this does not happen. Losing weight, feeling tired all the time does not happen in acute disease. It only happens in chronic disease, because that disease has affected the person for a long period of time. So it is bound to have a bad effect on the person's general health. Okay, so here we saw that a person suffering from an acute disease recovers completely, while the people that suffer from chronic diseases, they may not recover completely. Okay, they may not recover completely. Okay, so these are the two types of diseases based on the duration. All right, now let us move on to the factors that cause diseases. What are the factors that cause diseases in the human body? Factors that cause disease. Alright, so there are two factors that cause diseases. First is intrinsic factor and second is extrinsic factor. Alright, so let us discuss them one by one. First, let us study about intrinsic factors. Okay. These disease causing factors exist within the body of an individual. भनेको कुनै पनि मान्छेको भित्रै हुन्छ त्यो फ्याक्टरहरु चाहिँ. Okay, it exists within the body of the individual and has not reached the body from external sources. बाहिरबाट कहीँबाट आको हैन त्यो फ्याक्टर चाहिँ. ओके, त्यो चाहिँ अटोमेटिकली त्यो बडीको त्यो मान्छेको बडी भित्रै हुन्छ. दैट इज नोन एज द intrinsic factors. Okay, and the diseases that are caused by intrinsic factors are called intrinsic factors are called organic or metabolic diseases. Okay, अहिलेसम्म त organic food, organic farming मात्रै सुनेको थियो. Now we've come across organic diseases also. Okay, so organic diseases are those diseases that are caused by factors residing within our body. Alright, now let us see what are those intrinsic factors. Okay, these intrinsic factors can be maybe genetic disorders. Okay, it can be alteration in the gene itself. Gene mai pailai alteration bhaera त्यसले disease disorder cause गरेको हुन सक्छ. It can be genetic disorders, it can be hormonal imbalances. Sometimes our body may produce excess hormone or insufficient hormone, so that leads to diseases. Okay, so next can be it can be failure of organ. Any organ can fail inside our body, heart, kidneys, etc. So failure of organ or organ system. It can be metabolic disorders. के हुन्छ राम्ररी बडीको रिएक्सन्सहरु हुँदैन, so that may cause disorders in the body. Or it can be failure of immune system, or it can be some sort of allergy. Okay, so all these are intrinsic factors that cause diseases inside our body. So let us see some of the examples of organic or metabolic diseases that are caused by intrinsic factors. One example is that of diabetes mellitus. All of you might have heard. अहिलेको latest के भन्छ सबै मान्छेलाई इफेक्ट पार्ने बिमार चाहिँ के हो, डायबिटिज भन्छ नि हामी है. So that is metabolic or organic disease. किन metabolic or organic disease? Because that is caused within our body. Okay, so हाम्रो बडी भित्र आफै एक्जिस्ट गरेको आफै बडीको फ्याक्टर्सले गर्दाखेरि भएको कारणले गर्दा it is known as organic or metabolic disease. Okay, so example would be diabetes mellitus. So how is diabetes mellitus caused? Caused by insufficient production or less production of insufficient production of insulin hormone in our body. So insulin is produced by pancreas in our body. So agar insulin चाहिँ कम्ती मात्रामा produce भयो भने चाहिँ then that person will suffer from a disease that is called diabetes mellitus. Another example is cataract. Cataract is a disease of the eye where the person becomes blind. Why is cataract caused? It is caused by opacity of lens. Opacity of lens. So हाम्रो आँखामा lens हुन्छ. That lens is transparent. Transparent छ भने हामीले देख्छ. But as we age, right? जति बुढो हुँदै जान्छ मान्छे, what happens to the lens? It starts becoming opaque. Opaque भनेको wall जस्तो. है यो भित्ता जस्तो we cannot see through the wall नि त. So lens पनि त्यसरी opaque भयो भने that person will not be able to see. So त्यो बाहिरबाट आएको हैन, it exists within the body. It happens within the body. Lens आफै opaque हुन थाल्यो. So these are the examples of metabolic disorders or organic diseases. Now let us discuss the second factors that cause diseases, that is extrinsic factors, right? अघिको चाहिँ intrinsic body भित्रैबाट हुँदै थियो, यहाँ चाहिँ अब आयो extrinsic factors. Okay, so disease causing factors these disease causing factors, okay, these disease causing factors exist outside the body. Outside the body. So the factors which exist outside the body are called extrinsic factors. Okay, so there are 4 factors. Extrinsic factors that cause diseases. Okay. So let us see what are they. 4 extrinsic factors. First is malnutrition. Okay, malnutrition. So malnutrition means imbalance or inadequate diet. Malnutrition भनेको चाहिँ डायटमा इम्ब्यालेन्स छ. मैले अघि भने ब्यालेन्स डायट खायो भने मात्रै मान्छेको हेल्थ मेन्टेन हुन्छ नि. तर if there is an imbalance in the diet or if the diet is inadequate, that leads to several diseases. Imbalance or inadequate diet causes several diseases. Okay, causes several diseases. So what are those diseases? Example, there is a disease called Kwashiorkor and marasmus. Okay, these are the 2 diseases that are caused or that happens in children. नानीहरुलाई लाग्छ यो Kwashiorkor and marasmus. This is due to protein deficiency. Protein deficiency. So कुनै पनि nutrient हाम्रो diet मा deficient भयो भने चाहिँ we suffer from the disease. So त्यो nutrition deficient हुनेलाई चाहिँ condition लाई चाहिँ we call it malnutrition. Okay, so मैले भने Kwashiorkor र marasmus it occurs in children. सानो सानो नानीहरुलाई लाग्छ. As you know, young children they require proteins for bodybuilding and their growth, but if there is very little protein in their diet or no protein in their diet, then the children suffer from Kwashiorkor and marasmus. Okay, another example is that of goiter. Goiter is caused by iodine deficiency. I know all of you are familiar about goiter because we've already studied this in class 6 and 7. So iodine deficiency. So goiter भयो. अर्को disease caused by imbalance or imbalance in the diet is beriberi. अर्को हुन्छ night blindness. Is caused by vitamin deficiency. So you can see that if our diet does not contain sufficient amount of nutrients, then we suffer from a number of diseases. Alright, so this is the first extrinsic factors that exist outside our body. Okay, next factor is microorganisms. Okay, microorganisms means, we've already studied in class 8, micro means very, very small. They cannot be seen with our naked eyes. Okay, so microorganisms also enter our body from outside and they cause a number of diseases inside the body. But as you know, not all microorganisms cause disease. There are some beneficial microorganisms also. We are not talking about those beneficial microorganisms. We are talking about harmful microorganisms that cause diseases inside our body. Alright? So, the microorganisms which cause diseases in our body are called pathogens. Okay, जुन चाहिँ microorganismले हामीलाई बिमार बनाउँछ, they are given a specific name, that is pathogens. So these pathogens enter the body from outside. Okay, enter the body and cause a number of diseases. So microorganisms are also of various kinds. So microorganisms are of various kinds, such as viruses, okay, bacteria, protozoa, etc. So all these enter our body and cause a number of diseases. For example, tuberculosis, TB, cholera, typhoid, tetanus are caused by bacteria. Okay, AIDS, you must have heard about it. We'll study about it in detail later in this chapter. So AIDS, then polio, okay, and hepatitis, etc. All these are caused by virus. And malaria, dysentery, sleeping sickness, and black fever, Kala-Azar, okay, Kala-Azar, etc. are caused by protozoans. So microorganisms enter our body from outside and cause a number of diseases inside the body. Okay, so this was the second factor. Now let us discuss the third factor. The third factor are the environmental pollutants. Okay, environmental pollutants. Now, what are pollutants? Pollutants are the factors which cause pollution. Okay, so third factor is environmental pollutants. Alright, so the factors which cause pollution are called pollutants. So pollution can be of various types, as you are all aware of the fact. There is air pollution, land pollution, soil pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, radiation pollution, and so on. So all these pollutions lead to several diseases. So the different kinds of pollution lead to several diseases. Alright, so what are these diseases? Example would be smoke. Smoke causes air pollution, and inhalation of that smoke causes bronchitis and asthma. Okay, radiation causes cancer, etc. So all these environmental pollutants cause these different kinds of diseases inside the human body. Alright, now let us move on to the last factor, last extrinsic factor, that is drugs and alcoholism. This is one of the most dangerous problem that has gripped our youth today. Okay, so drugs and alcoholism. So there are different kinds of drugs and alcoholism. So tobacco, alcohol. Okay, another one is LSD. LSD, what is the full form of LSD? Lysergic acid diethylamide. Actually, these are all pain medications. But then people misuse that, and that is known as drugs. Okay, so tobacco, alcohol, LSD, bhang, morphine. Morphine is a pain reliever, so etc. All these are consumed by people, and these consumption of these intoxicants lead to a number of diseases inside our body. So these are responsible for damaging our organs, for damaging various organs, damaging various organs, and lead to alteration, change in the physiology of the body. Resulting in a number of diseases. So see, all these intoxicants cause a number of diseases inside our body. So we should never consume this intoxicant even once. These things are addiction. So people will feel the urge to consume it second time, third time, and then finally the person becomes addicted. So Even if your friend or even there is an elder who is asking you to consume one or some of these things, then you should stay away from them. Say no to drugs, okay? Because it causes not only a problem in your body, or it not only damages your organs and organ system, but it disrupts your family. You become a misfit in the society. So it is very good to stay away from all these intoxicants or from all these drugs. Alright, so with this we've come to the end of today's class. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.